Welcome to a review of the Sundering of Athel Loren narrative event review. Scott has come back. You may remember him from the previous episode and about 5 previous episodes before that. He is the title for the most recurring guest now, I would have thought.
Success. This is all I was aiming for. It's why I kept you around as a friend.
It's what the public demanded, allegedly.
The millions and millions of the Scots fans.
Well, even if they didn't demand it, it's what they're going to get.
Regardless, the poor sods.
Well, I've had 2 requests to come on so far, so this podcast's on the up, despite the fact there's a very haphazard release schedule, which I'm constantly getting shit for. But
to be fair, and like for all your listeners, like the delay of this one is, without a shadow of a doubt, my fault.
Well, I can't disagree.
Like having moved house and not going as smoothly as one would hope. That has led to multiple delays, and this is what, our 6th attempt to get this recorded.
Yeah, attempt 4 was funny when we were trying to do it on the Wi-Fi. That collapsed.
Oh, that was an absolute disaster zone, wasn't it? Good lord.
So, for all of you 3 people saying, where's the next episode? The reason is not my fault. It's a combination of technical issues and the palaver of moving house. So, what can you do?
Perils, people. Move house at your own risk.
Anyway, what did you think? Sundering of Athel Loren. I had a great time. I'm going to open with that.
I like agree more, and genuinely, I'd probably go so far as to say it's probably the most fun event I've ever attended. I thought it was an absolute blast. Like, every game I had was good. Every one I played against or just chatted to, and as ever, the Triple Crown guys, like, genuinely, the whole event was just an amazing weekend. Like, really, really good.
But the previous bar was set by the GT this year, and I think this is better. Not to say the GT wasn't good, it was great, but I enjoyed every minute of this weekend for various different reasons.
No, I totally agree. I think, like yourself, the GT earlier this year was genuinely one of the best weekends of Warhammer I'd ever had. But actually, this narrative event was probably better. Like, it probably was. It was just such a good laugh. Like, it was just so fun. Like, it really, really was. I had an absolute blast. And attending the narratives will be my number 1 priority of events, like, going forward.
Yeah, I've never been
to try to miss the GT. I'll try to go to all of them, but the narrative will be the priority.
I'd never been to a narrative before, and I'm regretting. This is the 3rd one of the series. If people will know that there's a 3 arc story to this, and this was the finale. So I'm kind of regretting that I haven't been to the previous 2, but I'm glad I went to this. I'm so glad I got a ticket.
Yeah, it makes us good that I didn't attend the first 2, but it makes us so pleased I did attend this one, because I'm super looking forward to the one later, like the next one later this year.
So here's a minor public service announcement. If you fancy going to a tournament or tournament environment, but you don't want to go to something that's competitive, get your name down for the next one, because it's such a fun, like, you know, the GT, there's always that tension of, how am I doing? I need to do really well and win 20-0 all the time. There's none of that. It's just a load of people, really nice people.
Playing Warhammer the way it's really supposed to be played. Like, for those who love the game but aren't particularly competitive and just want to play and have fun, like, I could not recommend this event run by the TC guys any more than I can. Like, was phenomenal, genuinely phenomenal.
And I'm sure you'll have had the same experience, but the 5 people I played were some of the nicest people I've ever met.
I didn't have a bad game all weekend.
No,
like, genuinely, all 5 players were brilliant. Like, genuinely played it in such a good spirit. Like, some ridiculous things happened for and against us. Everyone played it the way a narrative event is, like, should be played. It was just fun. Like, everyone had such a smile. Like, it was such a good experience.
Team effort as well. Good guys versus bad guys. So,
yeah, it's all about the good guys.
So we thought we'd, in these notes that I clearly pre-wrote not 10 minutes ago. We thought we'd go through like how we thought our armies did. We'll go through our games, and then we'll cover the crown. You crown the ticket, so there's a bit of extra entertainment that you get for it. So we'll review that as well. And any final thoughts on that? So if you want to know what our armies were, I'll put a link into the previous episode where we covered what we were taking. I didn't change anything. That list was submitted. I don't think you did either.
What? No, God, no. The list that we chatted through was the list I went with.
The list. So if you want to know what was in it, I'll put a link below. So how does your Tomb Kings do?
Oh, you know it is. Like they did us proud. Like I must admit, I wasn't expecting a lot from them. Truth be told, and like they did exceptionally well. Mainly because of the narrative ethos of the event, and the fact that you could play the missions and be successful without having to actually really particularly win games of Warhammer, which is good, because if it was a traditional competitive 20-0 scoring, like we poor Tomb Kings would have taken an absolute pounding on multiple occasions.
That's the other thing about the narrative. It's not you've got to destroy your enemy, you've got to play the missions. So it's not like, even if you get tabled, there's the potential that you could have won. So it's
yeah, and to be fair, that is give or take what happened to me in game 5. Like I played Beastmen, and like, to be fair to Rob, it was a hell of a game. It was really good fun, but he absolutely smashed the very pants off us if it was a 20-0 scoring system. Like, I think I had about 4 characters or something left at the end of the game, and I might have had a unit. I'm not 100% certain, but I won the game, and I've barely got an idea how. It was purely because of the mission, because he absolutely smashed the pants off us.
Doesn't matter.
But it was such a good game. Like, my priest did nothing other than cast the mission point thing, so he didn't really change anything to how the list performed. But Henry and War Sphinxes, I love them lots. Toughness 8, they're cool. Snakes did well. Spearmen, Skeleton Warriors did as little as what people probably expect them to do. And the casket didn't do a lot, but the threat was there, which was cool. But I think the winner, as it often tends to be for us, was me level 2 Death Mage, bunkered with me General, using LD10 Spirit Leech. The guy's a hero. Never lets us down.
That's a well-used signature spell from you.
It's probably, I was thinking about it, harking back to when we did our favourite spells, and I think since then, I've probably changed my feeling, and I think Spirit Leech is probably my most used spell in the game.
We're going to have to do an updated version of it.
Yeah. Spirit Leech, and why it's the best spell.
Did you practice the list before you took it?
No. This event, these 5 games are the only 5 games I have used my Tomb Kings. I hadn't played them beforehand. I haven't had a game of Warhammer since the event. I built and painted the entire army for the event. And game 1 was the first time I'd ever used my Tomb Kings in any edition. Like, the last time I used any mummies or equivalent figures were back in 4th edition when Undead was an army.
That's considering how well you did, that's pretty good.
Yeah. No, yeah, to be fair, they overperformed versus what I thought they would. But it was playing the scenarios, and it was probably because I wasn't against what you would call real out there, like, aggressive competitive lists, because everybody, I thought, brought lists that were in keeping with the event.
Yeah. Except potentially me. But well,
I didn't want to say that, Mark. I mean, you didn't take White Lions.
Didn't take Lions. Didn't take a L'Ariel. Didn't take a Frosthat Phoenix. I loved my list for something that I threw together without just thinking, oh, the narrative's coming up. What can I throw together? Because I haven't really got time to think too much about it. And a list that I didn't practice, I loved it. I loved every game playing with it.
How did you find the sisters?
Brilliant.
Because the few games I came across to see how you were getting on, like they looked like they were doing like brilliantly.
Their damage output was insane. As I'll go into, I think they were only annihilated once in 4 games, and just the amount of things they can delete, and especially stacking with being dedicated to Vol, so their range penalty is non-existent. The Handmaid the Other Queen gives them quick to fire, so they're hitting. If it's unobstructed shot, they're hitting on 2s with strength 4, and they were actually phenomenal. The amount of damage they can put out.
Elves, you can move and still essentially shooting 3 ranks as well, can't you? Is that right?
Shooting 3 ranks, no movement penalty, no range penalty because of Vol. Stand and shoot's not a problem because they're quick to fire, so it doesn't matter how close something gets to you, still unload 20 strength 4 shots into something's face. So they were probably the standout one, but it's almost like if you're just walking down the street and you pick up a diamond off the floor, or you just scribbling something down and you've planned like a brilliant new engine or something. This chucked together just seemed to work because you either come up this Phoenix Guard and they'll fight you, or you stand off and don't go anywhere near them, and you get shot to pieces, or you get a lot of magic in your face. So I would consider taking this to the GT.
I was about to say, funny enough, like with that in mind, how well they're performing for you, and more importantly, how much fun you had with them. What does it mean you would consider in the future getting them into a GT list?
Absolutely, yeah.
See, that's amazing, and like genuinely, that's awesome because it means not only did you have an absolute blast, but the concept of like getting you to take a weird or different list is actually giving you a totally different option for thinking about how you play your army that you love and play a lot going forward.
Well, that's just going back to what we were saying in the Armies episode that we did, in that, I've said I've played High Elves for 4 or 5 years and I'm still not bored of them. And again, you can put together something totally new and it's still a new experience. I'm still not bored of them. So, like, I've never used Sisters properly before. The Eagle game hasn't been great, and I used some Silver Helms, which I never usually use. And so I'm taking some new stuff. I mean, Phoenix Guard, you can't really get away from them, but I really enjoyed this list.
They're just ace, though, aren't they, Phoenix Guard? They're one of the most reliable units in the game.
Well, the Syrian's a bit fickle about when he turns the ward save on and off. When it's on, it's devastating. When it's off, it's deeply frustrating. So it was. I again really like that army that I essentially just threw together. It's not saying I'm like a genius or anything. It's just cool. It's just happy accident.
So would you say your favorite unit or character in your army ended up being the Sisters?
Yes, just because they were new, and I was like, wow, why haven't I used these a lot previously?
So their issue in a competitive list is that they're rare, isn't it? And like the rare slot is the first Phoenix slot.
You can't afford them in sufficient quantity that I would want to take the Phoenix.
Yeah.
So I'll have a think about that. But I would definitely, if I don't take Tzeentch Demons to Derby Deathmatch, I will probably take something based on this list at least.
Tzeentch Demons, now you're talking.
That coming soon. I forgot what we've put next on our to-do list.
Talk through each game and scenarios?
Yeah, so go on, you're the guest. You can go for it. The first one was...
the Battle of Eternal Moonlight.
That's the one. That was, you get a mission point for every spell you dispel?
Yes. Yeah. So, to be honest, this game was the one as I built my army, thought, this should be a win relatively for me because I had a Dispel Scroll, which I don't normally take in any of my lists for a start. So there was one. And I had taken the Staff of Sorcery,
Plus one of the
where plus one to dispel. So my level 4 was effectively dispelling as a level 5. I played Ogres in this first game. Again, really good game. It made you think about what you were actually casting, though, because you couldn't just afford to be flippant with a cast. Because actually, if you threw a couple of dice at it, you were giving your opponent an opportunity to dispel and get a free point, essentially. But yeah, so I think I ended up winning the game by 1 point. I mean, it was brutal. You got 1 point for every time you dispelled. You got 1 point for every wizard you killed. And if your opponent had no wizards alive at the end of the game, you had 3 mission points left. You got 3 mission points, sorry.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the game, neither one of us had any wizards left. So his wizards had all died. My wizards had all died. And I think I won something. It was something like 10-9 on victory on the mission points. It was just wild. It was really, really good. Such a blast. Obviously, apologies, I didn't take any photos of the actual games. So
no, there is.
But
did I take a stand-in image for that? I can't remember now. I don't think I did.
But no, like genuinely, like it was good. Opened up with a win, which shocked us. But I mean, truth be told, if it had have been a 20, if it had have been a competitive game, I think it'd have probably been a 10-10 draw. It was just brutal. Like neither one of us had almost any. I think there was 30 models left on the board at the end of the game across our entire armies.
What?
Like, we counted them. It was brutal. It was absolutely brutal.
So what actually happened in the game?
Oh God. So Ogres set up, and essentially just started coming towards us. The snakes charged the Mournfang, 1 unit of Mournfang, brutalized them, which was great. But then they were so far away, they spent the rest of the game trying to march back towards everybody else. Oh, sorry, not march, because they're Tomb Kings. Move really slowly towards the rest of the table. As the rest of the Ogre army just came pounding into the Tomb King list. Both Sphinxes ended up dying, I think. One might have been alive. The Archer, both my Archer blocks died. I think all I had left at the end of the game was my Skeleton War. Oh, I had one wizard left. Sorry, that's what won us the game. I had my Skeleton Warrior block left alive to a point. Me General, me Priest, me level 2, and the Casket. I think on the snakes across the board, everything else was dead. And he had left the other unit of Mournfang and a couple of Iron Guts, I think. And his BSB maybe it was just wild. He came out as full hog. I cast what I could off as he was coming towards us. Thinned the ranks as much as I could, and then it was trying to survive the just sheer brutality of the Ogres versus the less than brutal output of the Tomb Kings.
What was left of the Tomb Kings?
What was left? Oh my God, what was left? Jesus, honest, it was an absolute fest. Yeah, brutal, really brutal start to the event. To be honest, chaos, absolute carnage, but really good game. Really good game.
Well, I also played the Ogres, and I did take pictures. So let's see if I can fire one up here. There we go. So I played Dave, who he said at the start he hasn't played much Warhammer. So it was a really fun game because it was like not almost like a learning game, but it didn't really matter what the result was, and that sort of turned it into even more fun. But the deployment was like that. So the Phoenix Guards in the middle, the Sisters are on the right, the Archers on the left, and the Silver Helms and that in the front. It started quite well with the 2 bolt throwers killing the what's it called, the Cannon Chariot one,
the Iron
Blaster.
No.
Yeah. So I rolled like a 3 for wounds and then a 3 for wounds again. Like these haven't done this ever, so I must have brought the decent bolt throwers.
Fate. Obviously, fate going a gun line
Yeah,
for you.
it must be. The sisters killed the Yetis, I think, in about 2 turns. And then Phoenix Guard sort of moved up a bit. His what they call man-eaters scouted and then sort of came round the side of the archers, but there was some reavers there who sort of blocked them from moving. So I thought that was going all right. And then turn 2, I think. Where are we? I think it's about there. I moved the Phoenix Guard up towards his block of. Oh yeah, he's got the Ogre campaign narrative event special character is just there by himself.
That's the level 4 Firebelly, who you can never do more than 1 wound to, isn't it?
That will come in important later on. So the
I just interject. Dave's army, who I know you fought game 1, like stunning.
Yes.
And that standard that he made out of skulls is just one of the most incredible things I've seen.
Yeah,
like, amazing.
You'll see that banner of skulls in his big block. That's individually made out of little Citadel skulls.
Oh, like incredible, like incredible. And I know he's obviously done some work for other people. And I know he made Matt's Kenrick Titan, but like the guy is just so talented. Like amazing
paint job, amazing modeling.
Incredible. Like hats off to him.
So the Silverhelms charged the other Iron Blaster, which I'd forgotten is pulled by a Rhinox. So like, they're toughness 6 or something, and strength 5. This might have been a mistake. They kill all but one of the Silverhelms die, but they do manage to break it, and he runs off. And I think he panics through the lead belchers, and they clear off as well. But anyway, but the turn of the thing is where the Phoenix Guard move up towards his unit, and he says, I've got the Hellheart. So like, right. So he rolls the dice. It covers my wizard, who immediately rolls a 4, blows up, and goes down the pit. So, so I've now got no wizard, so he's up 3 points. He's killed a wizard. There's another point, and now I can't.
And he's got the special character, so he's got another point on top.
He's got the special character for that point, and he's now got total dominance of the magic phase. So the thing, right? That's gone interestingly. I can't really recover from that. I cast a few, because then the problem is, do you try to cast the 1 mission point spell because the priest's still alive? But because I'm now so at a disadvantage, that's just handing victory points to the opponent. But there's no
unless you take dice with irresistible force, he's going to spell it easily.
There is no other way for me to get victory points. So I think I made the wrong. Well, I don't know, because I was already losing, so I had nothing to lose by trying to get more points. But it didn't work. Everything got dispelled. So I was thinking, can I get 3? So I haven't included the photos of this, but his special character, sort of the Phoenix Guard and the Ogre block just have a fight, and the Phoenix Guard would probably win that. But his character comes round past those woods towards the Archer block, and I've managed to get him down to 1 wound, and then he takes something like, I think we worked it out, with standing and shooting and the rounds of shooting into him, he took 100 shots, for which I could not roll 1-6 to kill him because he was on his last wound. So
I can't remember you talking about that.
So the chance to get my 3 points for no wizard and killing a wizard or whatever it was, I thought I can do this. This will bring it back up. We'll be on balance. No, 100 shots and then combat with the archers, because they always strikes first. I'll roll a 6 somewhere. Nope. So they let me down a bit.
Not sure what to say about that. That's outrageous.
I think I lost something like it was something like 11-3. But we only got to about turn 2. But it was, I didn't mind. I didn't care. It was a great game to start on, because like that's a good start for the mage, isn't it? He's gone into the realm of chaos.
Right, if you're going to start properly.
Correct. Yeah. Do it properly.
Amazing.
But there's the
The Valiant Silverhelms.
They've been shot by the that's right. They've been shot by the lead belchers. So 3 of them went into the what I forgot was a Rhinox or whatever it is.
Yeah. That went surprisingly well for you, actually.
Yeah, they pulled it off just by winning by 1. I think it's because I had a musician and he failed the test. So like,
Wrong.
That'll do. That's all I need. So that was my game 1. Start as you don't mean to go on. 100 shots.
That's incredible. You can play Warhammer every day of the rest of your life and never replicate that outrageous display of shooting.
He doesn't wear armor. Yeah, that's literally all that was saving him was he's tough. He can only wound on a 6, and it did work for him. He got him into combat, and he deployed his super destructive banner or whatever it was, or breath weapon, which like annihilated the archers. Okay.
Sad times, eh?
Anyway, onwards and upwards from that one.
And the bad guys did win the first round as well.
They did, yes. And the Ogres took
sides. Despite the valiant efforts of the Tomb Kings, you High Elves let the team down.
You can't account for. When you roll, you pick up the dice and you think, I already know what's going to happen here. You just got a prophecy of it's going to be calamitous detonation. There's no point in me rolling this. I know what it's going to be, which happened quite a few times through the tournament. Yeah, 1 and a 4. Yeah, of course it is. Bang, and then roll the dice. Of course it's a 1. Wizard's gone.
Yeah, that's not gone well.
Turn 1 or whatever, turn 1 or 2, whatever it was.
Either way, it wasn't good.
No, but
nah.
Keep your
C'est la vie, yeah.
Keep your spirits up. Can only get better. But great game, great opponent. I enjoyed it.
Bro, so does that take us on to game 2?
Game 2, yes.
Conduits of Power. So this is the one where there was 4 deployment zones and there was a marker in each deployment zone.
Oh yes, and it ping-ponged between...
And yeah, you had to roll at each point, and if you had a scoring unit within 3 inches, you got a mission point, essentially. And if your priest cast the spell within 6 inches of it, you got 2 mission points instead of your standard 1. So, but it was totally random, and it pinged all over the place.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, this was possibly the greatest thing that's ever happened in any game of Warhammer to me. Happened in this game.
Go on.
So I was playing Phil's Dark Elves, which was a really cool list. Nothing like his regular standard competitive list at all. So like hats off again. It was very cool. So you had a unit of a big block of Cold One Knights deployed sort of up the top somewhere. A unit of Brolocks, a couple of unit of Dark Riders.
Well, I should just probably point out the deployment for this is like you're in a
so you're in diagonal across corners,
lengthways. So you're in one corner, and then it's almost like if you battle for the pass, but you're in only a half of the short board edge, and you're diagonal across.
Yeah, I dropped a huge clanger at the start of this game. In the fact that I rolled to pick sides, and just blasely picked the side I was on, not thinking there was actually magical scenery in in the corner that he would then select. That magic scenery was, I don't know, like was it a wizard's tower? Whatever it was. If you were a wizard and you were beside it, you became a lore master. So what he did was then deploy his warlocks right in front of that, which then made them lore master dark and lore master death. And he then continued to throw 6 dice at big purple sun every turn. And frankly, it was just the most outrageous thing. So Sorry, and then the rest of his list, the bulk of it was a big horde of Corsairs with the special character, the priest, and somebody else in there. And then his BSB was essentially just lurking around somewhere. So the highlights of this game were incredible. One, the Cold Run Riders, I think, moved turn 1 on their own accord and then failed 4 out of 5 stupidity tests
Right.
for the rest of the game, which was frankly hilarious.
Leadership problem.
It was yeah, I mean, LD9, I think they are. At least
Oh,
LD8,
yeah.
either way, they failed 4 out of 5 times. And they were all up then. Like, spoiler, that unit of Cold War Knights was all that was left on the Dark Elf list at the end of the game. Oh no, that unit, three or 4 of that unit and his BSB. Everything else was dead.
This even after flinging out 100 Purple Suns?
So, in one turn of Purple Suns, he'd managed to throw the big one out that went over both of my Kemrian War Sphinxes in one turn. Initiative 3 is the highest on the unit, on the model. Both Sphinxes lived.
Just dodged out like a cat, which they are.
Agile like a giant dead cat. Was incredible. Like, that was highlight number 1. After the lower point of me being like really stupid, just giving him this magical tower. The other greatest thing that happened was the Necrolith Colossus, or the old Bone Giant, for those of us who have been around a long time, charged his horde of Corsairs with his general, his wizard, his priest all in. He failed his terror test, and then the giant caught the entire unit and wiped them all out. The single greatest thing that has ever happened. It was just amazing. That Bone Giant, or Necrolith Colossus, will now forever be in my Tomb King army. He will never, ever achieve the height that he achieved in this game.
What was his expression at the point?
It was just hilarious. You just couldn't believe it. And then, to be fair to him, he then continued to fail. I think throughout the game, he failed 4 or 5 terror tests. He failed 4 stupidity tests. He could not pass a leadership test to save his actual life. It was outrageous. I think he also failed a terror test when one of the Sphinxes charged his executioners and then ran them down later on. It was awful. Like, he could not pass a leadership test to save his life. And obviously I could pass initiative tests. Like, I could never pass them before.
I say elves are a low LD army, not because the number's low, it's because it's impossible to pass them.
Evidently so. You
I
can't
can't
pass them.
pass them,
He couldn't
no.
pass them. When Stan uses his he can't pass them. Like, elves are just cowardly creatures, it would seem.
Just remove the. Don't take them. If you can avoid it, don't take them.
But no, so, like, to be honest, this was an absolutely massive win for the Tomb Kings, and mainly because it turns out Phil can't pass leadership tests, which is remarkable. But we had such an actual blast, to be honest. Like, throwing out Purple Suns willy-nilly, failing terror tests, failing stupidity tests. That was hilarious. It was really hilarious. And I think all the Tomb Kings actually lost, really, at the end of the game, was the Cold War Knights eventually charged and killed the snakes. Otherwise, it was a resounding win for the Tomb Kings.
A bit of
like
honour back after.
Such a good game. Like, genuinely, it was hilarious. And, like, Phil and I were just laughing the entire game. It was just outrageous. Like, it really was outrageous. The TC guy and, like, Scott and James came over, and when I passed 2 initiative tests on the War Sphinxes, like, the greatest moment in Warhammer history. Agile like a giant dead cat.
Yeah, if that was me throwing out Purple Sun's initiative tests on the undead and nothing was going right, yeah, go back to wizard school.
Yeah, I mean, you probably knew from that moment it wasn't going to go well, especially when he then couldn't pass a terror test or a stupidity test. Like, it was, oh, the dice were not his friend. It was just wild, really, really wild.
less than ideal when all your stuff's running away in terror or being chopped up.
Yeah, honestly, just brilliant. Brilliant, though. It summed up the event in a lot of ways, that it was just funny, not serious. It was really good. It was really, really funny. Good game. And obviously, Tomb Kings then had won 2 in a row, which frankly, I wasn't 100% sure how to deal with that.
You could have walked away there
I-
as king, as Tomb
Honestly,
King.
officially, the secretly loyal to Nagash Tomb Kings were performing well.
That's it's a sore point in Khemri, that. Well, my game 2, I played Ogres again. Slightly different. There's a picture of it.
Oh, that's the Ogre list I played game
right.
one.
That's a bit of a crossover.
Yeah, it is. I've just spotted it. That's the game. That's who I played game 1. Really good guy. Really good game. Yeah, good guy.
Yeah, again, like I'm saying, everyone I played was great. Another great opponent. So as you can see, the deployment is in sort of battle for the past quarters, which is a bit odd. The markers, the objectives, you'll see them at the bottom of the screen. You've got, as you're saying, you've got to be near them to claim them, and there's one that's active every turn. I got really lucky in that it started off in my zone, so I claimed a point straight away. So I was bunched up like that and thinking, what am I going to do? This tower here became quite useful. So I thought I'll hang back and just let them. I think he got the first turn. I think I was all right with that because there's nothing really much he could shoot at me except with the lead belchers, but I can shoot back. So I couldn't.
Yeah, and he didn't have any cannons.
No,
To
he
be
didn't have
fair
any
to him
cannons.
either.
It was a very fluffy list. So the first turn, I don't think I did any shooting at all because I was out of range. It was that far away. So he sends his. He's got 2 units of Mornfang, and he sends one of them round to my right. So that's why the archers are there. They're sort of aiming at him. There's some bolt throwers in the woods that are trying to shoot them down as well. So the eagles make themselves a nuisance up there, do a bit of blocking, present themselves as a target for the lead belchers, so they're not shooting at the Phoenix Guard and the sisters. The game started. I moved my. You'll notice the Silver Helms aren't on here. Speaking of leadership tests, they moved up because I thought I'll put them there just to see what I want to do with them. They'll be all right. They're out of threat range. He casts. Is it Brain Buster or that's the orc one? It's a what?
No,
It's a
yeah,
one where
It was
it
crack.
forces you to take a leadership test. It's an ogre spell that forces you to take a leadership test. Anyway, Brain Gobbler, I think it is. So that brilliant. That'll be easy. High in the leadership army. Fail it straight away. Out of the range of the BSB, they run off the board. So that's the Silverhelm's gone. Turn 1. Right. That's how it's going to be. That's why they're not on there. But in subsequent turns, when the sisters get in range, you'll see there's a block of, I think they are iron guts with the BSB, right in the middle top of that picture. They're coming towards me, and the sisters kill them all except the BSB. So the BSB is sort of in the middle ground where he's like, you either charge something or you're just going to get shot to pieces. It's not an ideal situation. So the BSB charges into the Phoenix Guard and is killed. The Phoenix Guard then advance. You see there's a unit behind the Iron Guts. They've come on as well. So the Phoenix Guard, in my turn, I declare a charge on them. They've been shot a bit as well, so they're depleted. He flees them, which allows the Phoenix Guard to redirect into the lead belchers. They kill them, overrun into the unit behind them. And I think the other unit of Mornfang there, they just get shot and they flee off the board. So this is, I was saying where the army just works together quite well.
Did it really come together?
All parts of it was just like synergizing together. Because there's another one. Actually, yeah. So you'll see the iron guts are taking a bit of a pound in there. The sisters didn't even have to move. They just anything that came at them, they were just shooting into pieces. They shot the Mournfang, I think, making them run off. They shot the entire Iron Gut unit. The Phoenix Guard killed the BSB. The Phoenix Guard then just sort of went all the way in a big circle around the right flank of his. And so at the end, I had my units next to 3 of the objectives, and I'd got lucky because it was the start of every turn, was it, or game turn?
Yes. Every player, every game turn.
And it was coming up near my people all the time, so I was ratcheting up the victory points. So that was really lucky for me. The archers and the bolt throwers managed to clear off the other unit of Mournfang. I'm not sure if he was tabled or not, but there wasn't that much left of the ogres by the end of it. And that's the BSB fighting the Phoenix Guard. But it was quite handy because the that tower in the middle, it did do something, but I can't remember what it was. It didn't have any impact on the game, I don't think. But it sort of anchored the Phoenix Guard. So the Mournfang, there wasn't like I think he was saying afterwards, he was trying to do like a joint front and flank into the Phoenix Guard with these units, but which is how you break them, because you take away when you start taking away the steadfast and that you can break them. No. But it just didn't work out that way. The amount of firepower the sisters can put out, and the handmaiden, whose strength, what is she? I took the potion of strength, so at some point she was strength 8, with no range penalties or movement penalties. So they were just laying waste to everything 24 inches away from them, and whatever was left, the Phoenix Guard was chewing up. So that one went quite well, and I was able to get a few mission points with the priest, I think. But I did well on the objectives, and that was just because at the opening part of the game where it was quite hemmed in, it pinged up on mine quite a lot. And then when I'd removed a lot, I could put my things on the objectives, because by the time the Phoenix Guard had swung in, because that's what I was thinking, I'll go into the lead belchers, I'll take whatever stand and shoot they can give, it'll be all right with a ward save. And then his objective was on that unit, see the unit behind the lead belchers, his the objective was on there, so they went round there and claimed that one. So I had at least 2, and then I think the archers might have moved up, possibly 3 objectives, so like I'm getting points every turn.
Yeah, I forgot to mention on mine that actually I was really lucky. The objective every other turn, it started on the one in my deployment zone, and then obviously it had to move off, but every time it then came back to me, and when I had it, I was able to cast the priest spell, and I was just able to churn out points as well as pass initiative tests.
But you'd think I'd learn from this to play the objective, which I didn't. I forgot in later games, completely forgot it. But that was a really good game, really good opponent. Just unfortunate the way it went. There's not much you can do. Like, ogres aren't very heavily armored. Even the iron guts aren't that. Do they have heavy armor? I think the Mournfang. Yeah,
iron guts have heavy armor. So you're talking 5-ups across the army, except for Mournfang, which are good armor. Otherwise, you're shooting from the sisters, it's just going to chew through them.
It's the fact that they're always hitting on 2s. It's hitting on 2s with no 4s. The amount of damage they can put out is incredible. And then backed up with the archers, who are, they'll plink off a couple of wounds, and the bolt throwers. It's just the amount of damage they can put out. And then the Phoenix Guard is, we'll pick a target, we'll do what we want.
Yeah, good matchup.
Yeah, it was really good. Really enjoyed it. Second game, good opponent, good game, nice atmosphere. Continued like that for the rest of the weekend.
Which then takes us into game 3.
It was the last one of day 1. It was 3. Yeah.
That's it. The last game of day 1. Clash at the Mergen Stones, Apologies, that's not pronounced how it was intended, but live with it. So this one was diagonal deployment in either corner, and the mission was gain a mission point every time you slay a model in a challenge, and gain a mission point if you kill the enemy priest, which increases to 3 mission points if your priest is still alive.
So it's the this is what I like about the narrative, is that the missions are narrative as well. One's about stopping people casting, the other one's about dominating land or terrain. This one's about how good people are in challenges. So everyone's got a chance, depending on their build, to.
So yeah, I played yet another Ogre army in this one, and in the middle of the board, essentially, there's a huge tower, which ended up not helping anyone, but it really forced the Ogres to come in the direction that I needed them to come in, so I could fight them off sort of one unit at a time, rather than having to face an onslaught of Ogres charging at us, which is what happened in game 1. And this one was a relative slow burn. It was a bit of a face off, because I was more than happy to take the snakes into anything as long as they got the charge, but I didn't want to get charged. So it was a bit of a touch and go game for quite the first few turns. I had absolutely no intention of engaging in combat unless I had to, and I had absolutely no intention of engaging in any challenges whatsoever. What I did, however, was Spirit Leech his priest. Spirit Leech. Spirit Leeched his priest. Oh, actually, go back to game 2. I also Phil didn't have his BSB left because I Spirit Leeched him off the board as well.
Good old Spirit Leech.
So, but this game, Spirit Leech won us this game because I Spirit Leeched his priest off the board.
Spirit Crutch, as it could be called.
Well, you know, as we discovered, it's now my favourite spell. But yes, I Spirit Leeched his priest off the board. My priest stayed alive, and although I lost some bits and pieces, he lost some bits and pieces. As far as the event, when he cast the Pantheon spell a few times, I cast it a few times. The big difference was I killed his priest and he didn't kill mine, and that won me the game. Which meant I finished day 1 on 3 consecutive wins for the Tomb Kings.
That's almost unheard of.
It blew my fragile little mind, to be honest. But what it is, because it really should be a lesson for you, good sir, is I played the missions and was not playing 20-0 Warhammer. Otherwise, I'd have been soundly beaten in this game. If this game had been 20-0, I would not have won.
It sounds easy, but it's not.
Well, when I just... So this was, 3 games? This game was just Tomb King Castle and do whatever I could to cast Casket and hold him off as long as possible until I could get me Spirit Leech off on his priest. To be honest, that was the tactic, to try to make him take as long as possible to get to us, so I could maximize what I could do.
Fair enough.
But yeah, no, it was again very good game. Had an absolute blast, which I appreciate. We sound like we're just repeating, but it really was played in such a good manner. It was really, really fun.
Another Tomb King victory. It's just
another Tomb King victory, unheard of.
They're all right in narratives. It's just
well, that's the point, actually. They pair up well when they're paired up against sort of equally fun and fluffy armies, but when you put them in a competitive scenario, they can often just get ruffle stomped, unless you play essentially one build. But no, really, That's what this chat is about. It was really good fun. And yeah, Tomb Kings went 3 from 3, which is outrageous.
Pretty good.
Yeah. What about you? Who were you up with? Game 3?
I played the Chaos Dwarfs. So there. Again, another great opponent. Had a really great game. You may notice a slight error in how I've deployed here, which came back to bite me heavily in the arse. You see this big rock in the middle of the thing there? You'll notice the 10 wide Phoenix Guard are immediately behind that, so they can't get past it, as I clarified later in the game. Like, that's impassable terrain, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Right. Brilliant.
I know what happens in this game. Sorry, I'm already laughing. My apologies. So sorry.
Anyway, so it is the diagonal one. There's the Reavers on the right hand side, then the Sisters of Avalon, Phoenix Guard in the middle. The bolt throwers are in the forest on the left, and there's one to the right of the archers. He's got a massive unit of blunderbuss guys, and I've fought them before, and they get extra buffs depending on how many there are in the unit or how many ranks they've got or something like that. And then he's got his 2 blocks of whatever they're called, the Iron Infernal Guard or something like that. Infernal Guard. And he's got quite a lot of artillery. There's a Hell Cannon out of shot, and then he's got, I think it's 2 Flame Cannon. No, the Hell Cannon's there. Then there's 2 Flame Cannons to one side. No, there's 2 Death Shriekers to one side and a Flame Cannon on the other side by those hobgoblins. The Silver Helms are on the extreme right. Some bizarre stuff happens here. Those hobgoblins do something like a 12-inch charge and collide with the Silver Helms. And we were both stunned at what happened there. So they've catapulted all the way up there. The Reavers go around to sort of, I don't know what I want to do. I think I can take that. I think I can take the Flame Cannon with the Reavers, but then what do you do with a Hell Cannon? Don't know. The Reavers go up, and then in the next turn, the Flame Cannon just decides to blow up. So, that's solved the problem. Meanwhile, I move the Phoenix Guard up a bit, and I cast Fiery Convocation on the big unit of Blunderbuss. What are they called? Whatever they are.
Blunderbuss Infernal Guard.
Right. So on that unit, Infernal Guard, I didn't know they had a 5-up ward save, but I wasn't against fire. But I wasn't that bothered because that's still pretty good. That burns them down to the point where they don't get their buffs at the point where I'm moving up. So that's all right. That's fine. The Sisters try to take a few more off. They're not as effective at this round, and he does manage to shoot a few of them with a Death Shrieker rocket, and I think he takes about half of them out at least.
Yeah, Death Shrieker's good against your lightly armored elves. Yeah, it's a big high plate, strength 3, wound on 4.
Yeah, and
you don't.
They've got 6-up armor, so they can't take any hits.
Nah, it's a good matchup.
So I move them forward, thinking, right, I'll go into there, I'll kill everything in that unit with a Phoenix Guard, everything will be fine. The Hell Cannon goes berserk and kills itself. It's like, that's solved the problem for me. And where's the next picture, which I'll demonstrate? You can see the error I make here. Because there's the Phoenix Guard who can't get past this block here. So it's all right. I've drawn Walk Between Worlds, which I then continuously fail to cast for the rest of the game. So the Phoenix Guard are just blocked here while I'm endlessly throwing 6 dice at Walk Between Worlds to get them through there. And he's either dispelling it or I've not gotten enough to cast it.
I mean, some people might say those 6 dice would have been better spent casting the mission point.
Right. Some people might say that. But at this point, I had got so obsessed with getting through them and killing all them and the artillery behind them. I didn't care at all about the mission point. I had gone completely out of my mind. To see the eagle at the top, it flies into the Death Shrieker. I think it manages to kill that, and then it gets tied up with the engineer equivalent, and that's a wash. But yeah, so at this point, I'm so focused on I will get Walk Between Worlds. I will get through here. That I just lose all consideration for anything else in the game. Which enables him to come around with his blocks of infantry. And where are we? That's not right. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the correct photo there. Oh, there isn't one. Oh, that's fine. Well, anyway, so his blocks of infantry, I think one goes into the archers, and that's sort of like a wash because I can, because I'm still steadfast, I can reform them. He puts the other block into the flank of the Phoenix Guard, and because there's a sea helm in there, that's not a problem. They just reform and face them the other way. So I do get into combat, but it's not on my terms. It's entirely. I've pinned myself in and got hit in the flank, and it's just because I happen to have a sea helm in there that I could reform. And I think we challenge each other with priests or Castellan or something like that, and that's nothing happens there. It doesn't wound or ward saved anyway. And at some point during the game, he says, "So I'm just going to cast the mission point," and casts it. And I said, "Yeah, whatever. I'll save it for whatever," because I think he had. Whatever. Did he have Ash Storm? He might have had Ash Storm. Whatever. And at the end of the game, we both we realised that he'd won by 1 point. It was 1-0. We'd both completely
Oh my God.
We'd both completely forgotten the objectives. And because he cast that, I don't know, turn 2, turn 3, he'd won. So yeah. That was wild.
Wow.
There's the eagle fighting the it's not sorcerer prophets, are they? What are they called?
Demon
Smith. That's it. So the thing I kept saying to myself after that, I said, I'm going to write out in front of me a card that says "Play the fucking mission."
That was your resounding thought at the end of day one, wasn't it?
Certainly was. As if I'd played the mission definitely in this game and potentially game one, although that was slightly out of my control. I would have done a lot better.
So sorry, we didn't say overall. Game 2 was won by the good guys.
Yes. So game
3, round 3 was a draw,
which meant
it was a flat draw. So it was 1 each going into game 2.
Neither of us had special characters. Neither of us were plus 1 point because of who was winning at the time. So it all came down to him throwing, I don't know, 2-3 dice on the mission point one, and me letting it go and not thinking anything of it.
Yeah. Sad times to be alive, Mark.
Well, you live, as the philosopher Alanis Morissette said, you live, you learn. Although I didn't, because a similar thing happened in day 2.
Oh, it is funny, isn't it? Because of the nature of the narrative and the fact that it really is sort of mission orientated. If you forget to play the mission and you play traditional Warhammer like you did, it can bite you in the ass, because actually, I'm sure on 20-0 system you probably won that game.
That's the thing. Like, you go on, I won that. Like, no, you didn't. You won that in the scoring system that we're not using, but what use is that to anyone?
Yeah. In your face, pointy ears. That's what he was saying to you.
He wouldn't have said that. He was a nice guy. In fact, he won the sportsmanship award. So
it was a draw, though, wasn't it?
Well,
we did get the award, but it was a draw. There was lots of nice guys there.
We can cover that later.
No, yeah, he was. Like, I didn't get to play him, but good. Say good guy. You could say that of pretty much everyone that was there. But yeah, and it's a really nice looking Chaos Dwarf army as well. Yeah, it was really, really lovely.
Like they were saying on the other review episodes are available, to quote Triple Crown guys, but they were saying on theirs that the standard of painting and conversion and hobbying was just that it's making it impossible for them to judge it anymore because it's just that high.
There was some amazing, as a as a very, very mediocre painter at best. Some of them were just phenomenal. Some of the armies were genuinely beautiful, like stunning work. Like hats off to some of the people who do play this hobby and spend a lot of their time and effort on painting. Like you're a good painter, but like some of the guys there were just different level, like really, really
I
good.
think I'd give myself 6 out of 10 for painting, and then when you're putting the stuff on against stuff that just looks phenomenal, like that's why I love taking pictures. So all the pictures look amazing because the level, the standard of
Well,
painting is incredible.
I did take. I don't know if you've got them ready to show at all, but I took all of the a lot of army photos on the displays.
I haven't uploaded them, but I think I put them on
No.
Instagram, which I'll link below for people. If you're not interested,
Because there were some beautiful, beautiful armies there. Like hats off to some of the people who.
if you're not interested in the crap we're talking,
talent.
do have a look at the photos of other people's armies because they are amazing.
Yeah, phenomenal. Worth going just to sort of bask in the quality of some of the hobby and that some of the people can produce.
Absolutely, it's like mini golden demon. So that was the end of day 1, and then we came back to do 2 gamers on day 2.
We did.
So what was your first one on day 2?
So yeah. Game 4 for the event was called Heart of the Forest. It was standard battle line deployment, and there was objectives scattered around the board. And if you had a unit with fortitude next to it or a character roll, you could try digging it up. And on a 6, you found the Heart of the Forest. On a 1 to 5, you just discarded it. And then if you had the Heart of the Forest at the end of the game, you scored 3 points. If you killed the person with Heart of the Forest, the opponent got 3 points. Otherwise, you got 1 mission point for every unit wholly within the enemy deployment zone at the end of the game. So that was the scenario. Now, this was the one game that I didn't play the scenario. So I did a mark, and sadly, it was the one game that I lost all tournament, all
was
events.
Was it predictable what happened?
It was again. I was start game 1, day 2 rather. Tomb Kings had played 3-1-3. Generally wasn't sure what was happening, and I then played Jack's VC, who hats off and went all tournament, played 5-1-5. He had their event special character, the Red Duke, who was phenomenal.
Was he on table 1? Was the guy that was on table 1?
Yeah,
Kyle.
Yeah. Kyle, sorry, not Jack. Sorry, Kyle. Yeah,
I played
Kyle,
it. I think he had the best game of the GT against Kyle. Yeah, with his VC.
We played, and conversely, if we had have been playing a traditional Warhammer game, this would have actually went really well for us. Castled in the corner, Tomb King style.
An undead civil war.
Killed off stuff. Managed to delay a lot of his things coming in. Forgot that I was supposed to be trying to get some of my units into his deployment zone, or stop him getting into my deployment zone, which is what cost us the game. He did manage to. I got the casket off and bounced onto Hex Wraiths twice. They've got LD like 4 or 5, and on 3 dice, those Hex Wraiths lived to score a victory point at the end of the game, a mission point at the end of the game. I mean, I shouldn't complain having passed those 2 initiative tests.
So it all comes back round.
It came back. It bit us in the ass. It bit us big style. And neither one of us dug up any of these things. I had Fairy Magic Dominance, which is why I could get the casket off so much, and I could also cast the mission point. And going into turn 6, or turn 5, going into turn 5, I think it was, I was considerably winning on mission points. until he got, I think, a unit of dogs, a unit of hex wraiths, and his unit of knights into my deployment zone. And then knowing the game could end, he took his characters, or two of them, out of his unit of knights. So he therefore had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 things in my deployment zone because characters counted. And would you believe, because of that, he scored 6 for that, and I didn't have any in his deployment zone. He won 7-6.
Oh.
So I've been winning the entire game. I was like going into turn 5. I was up, up by 5. I was winning 6-1, I think, at that stage, or 6-2, and then he got into my deployment and scattergunned his characters, and the game ended, and I lost by 1 mission point. No, I'm not. No, I wouldn't mind. If the game had went on one more turn, me snakes would have been in his deployment zone, and I might have killed things. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. But yeah, I didn't play the mission. It was the one I played the mission the least well, and yeah, bitters in turn 5. Like, I was happily winning. I thought, my God, like it's going to go 4 from 4. Like, I'm genuinely not sure what to do with myself, but it didn't, and I lost by 1 point. But like, really good guy. Like, you played him. Like, Hell was really cool. His list was really cool. Very themed on the concept of the Red Duke, and it was stunning. He'd made like a themed priest of Kurnos. He'd made the Red Duke and really jazzed him up with his horse and everything. It was just a really, really nice army. Really good game. Love opponent to play. But yeah, I forgot I forgot part of the mission, and what can I say? It came back bitters in the ass. And Tomb Kings tasted the bitter taste of defeat for the first time.
That's what you get for being loyal to Nagash.
Don't worry, the great one will see us through at the end.
Well, my game 4 was against the Skaven, and I did force myself to play the mission. So there's the deployment. Sisters on the right, and then the bolt throwers next to them. Phoenix Guard in the middle. I think this was alternating deployment. So I knew the what's it called? The Hell Pit Abomination. I didn't, except for the sisters, I didn't really have an answer to that, and I deployed the sisters on the wrong side to get across to fire at that. So I just thought he had them, the Hell Pit, and some rat ogres, like a big unit of rat ogres with them. So I just thought I'll ignore them. I'll sort it out later, possibly. And then on the other side, he had Poison Mill and Glovadiers, 2 units of them, a couple of rat darts. I think their clan rats are slaves. The unit in the front is Queek Storm Vermin with Queek in as well.
Yeah.
Really, really nice. You don't see them very often as well.
Army. Nice.
Yeah, really nice. Well. I love these albino Hellpit Abomination. It looked.
Yeah.
I took some very good action shots of that. And then he's got a block of slaves, I think a block of clan rats, where he's put his Grey Seer in, and then there's another rat dart there. So immediately I make a play to get he, as you do, he took Dread 13th. So I'm immediately like
terrified,
on high alert that there's going to be 6 dice and that going into my Phoenix Guard, which I can't have. So I deploy. I think I get first turn. So I move the sisters up to claim the first objective. It's not the heart. I move their Phoenix Guard up just 24 inches away to try and fiery convocation the unit with the Grey Seer in. So he has to die, because the one thing that'll wreck this army more than anything else is you can't take the ward saves, and 4d6 Phoenix Guard dying.
Yeah,
you can't take that. Yeah,
you don't want that.
Nah, that's what's that? 24 of them dying if you get it wrong. The average is 14. No, I don't want that. So anyway, He dispel scrolls the first fiery convocation, but I get it off the next turn, and that I think that burns that unit to ash. And the sisters shoot a few more to bring it down. I think there's one or two. There's one or two clan rats left in it. So that Grey Seer goes. I think he joins the unit next to that behind Creek's Storm Vermin.
Yep.
In the meantime, he on his turn one, I think the Eagles go up to where that tower is, or one of them does. And the Reavers go in front of them. I think the Reavers are going to go into the Poison Wind Globadiers, try and clear them out. And the Eagle, something happens with the Eagle where on turn 2, I think it's that Rat Dart is fleeing, or a group of Globadiers is fleeing, possibly from the Reavers. I can't remember exactly what happens, but he does the Storm Banner. So the Eagles got movement too. So I thought, well, I'll charge and get rid of whatever it was. I think it was the Globadiers, and just charge them off the board. Like if I declare a charge, it's legal. It would be a 6/6 charge, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. They'll just clear off the board, and that'll get rid of them for some, just to make sure they're not a pain in the arse later on. But I actually make the 6/6 charge with their charge distance, and I destroy them there. And like, well, that's good because now I can reform and go into the cannon next turn. So that saved me a bit. And that becomes significant later. So again, I'm just happy for the Phoenix Guard to move up a bit. They move onto that hill. And just the fight's going to be them with Creek Storm Vermin. It just depends on which of us wants to go to make that charge first. So he digs up with his Grey Seer the heart of the forest. So like that's another big target on that. That Grey Seer now needs to die. So something around here breaks and panics the unit with the Grey Seer in. And I can't remember what it is. It might be a Rat Dart. I think they might have shot a Rat Dart to pieces, which caused the Grey Seer's unit to flee because of a panic test. It was like one of those freak accidents. But by this time, the Eagle it's my combat phase, so the Eagle beats the cannon and overruns into the fleeing Grey Seer unit and wipes it out.
Oh,
and
Jesus!
And you're just like, this is like, you actually apologise to someone like, this isn't my tactical genius. This is just somehow set up to work out perfectly for me. So the Eagle's done like a massive loop on the left-hand side, gone behind, set himself up, overrun into the Grey Seer's unit, killed him. So I get the heart. I've killed the character of the heart of the forest, and now he's got no magic defense at all. The Creek Storm Vermin charge the Phoenix Guard who go up the middle. I don't know if I've got a picture of this actually. Oh yeah, there's the Eagle.
The Eagle.
The Eagle, Hero Eagle. So yeah, so I think he does catch the Poison Wind Globadiers. Who they have rotten luck. They gas themselves quite a lot. Yeah, roll that once. So yeah, that Eagle's on 1 wound as well. So he goes into the Warp Lightning Cannon, kills that, overruns into the Grey Seer's unit, and because it's fleeing, you can't flee again. It just gets unfortunately removed from play. But in the meantime, his units of here's an action shot of his help it. So I just thought I could try to get the archers out of the way, but they'll just have to be sacrificed. I can't get them out of the way of his 360 arc and his 3d6 movement. So they're just a speed bump. They come up as do the rat ogres. They just mince them. They go into my bolt throwers in the back line. But at this point, because there's nothing really left, the silver helms I think come around the back as well. They've gone up the right hand and they come around the back. And because there's nothing really left in the back lines, I'm just marching everything into his deployment zone and casting my. There's nothing really to cast left with magic, so I'm just 6 dicing the mission point spell all the time. So at the end, I think I've got the Eagle, 2 sets of Reavers, the Silver Helms, the White, sorry, not the White Lions, the Phoenix Guard, and the Sisters all in his deployment zone. And he's got the Hell Pit, I think he's got the Night Runners and the block of Rat Ogres in my deployment zone. But I win that something like it's either 8-3 or 11-4 or something like that. But it was
Big win.
it was big win for the High Elves because I played the mission.
Yeah, well done. I must admit, I didn't play the guy you played there with the Skaven, but like I've seen him a few times during the day. It seemed to really look like everybody else, really lovely guy, and his army was very cool.
Yeah, it was really nice, and there's just times the game like this can't be fun for you, like because the Phoenix Guard just blended the Storm Vermin because they're going first and they're armor piercing, and they're all armor 4 up, 3 up because I've been casting high magic. Yeah, the general's gone, banner's gone, wizard's gone. There's nothing really. It's honestly there's nothing really you can do. It's just been bad luck. But when that eagle, when you don't, things that happen, you don't think how significant it is. If I hadn't rolled that 6-6, the eagle wouldn't be there. If the eagle the eagle wasn't there, it couldn't have gone into the cannon turn 2. If it hadn't have done that, it wouldn't have overran into the.
You learned, you played the mission.
I played the mission, and
unfortunately, what I didn't do was play the mission.
Oh, don't worry, I don't learn this lesson. This is a temporary blip.
Okay.
So was it going to game 5? Was it no? The good guys had won game 5 into game 5, so the bad guys were +1 point.
Yes, good guys. I can't remember if we'd won. Yes, we good guy. Yeah, either way, good guys were going in 1 down, 1 up, as in winning, but so the bad guys got an extra mission point.
Yeah,
to start the game. Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't. I don't think it was a panic check that made the Gracie's second unit flee. I think I'd shot it with the sisters, and it failed the 25%. That's what it was. But not that it matters. So, who did you have for your 5th game?
Game 5, Darkness of the Wildwood. This was, you got 1 mission point. If this was the final game, it's all about essentially killing the general. So you got 1 mission point if you killed the enemy general, which increased to 3 mission points if your general was still alive and on the tabletop at the end of the game. Immediately score 1 mission point every time a unit standard or battle standard was slain, and immediately score D3 mission points if you kill the enemy priest of the Pantheon. So yeah, this was all about killing the general or the priests on the opposite team. My last game was against Rob and Rob's Nurgle Beastmen army.
Played that before.
With the priest of Hekati, which gave him poison, exploding hits like Predatory Fighter, which made an outrageous difference. So we had a huge block of Nurgle Bestie Gore, a big block of Nurgle Gore that had the priest and might just have the priest, and actually in the Bestie Gore had the general and the BSB in, or maybe the BSB was in with the Gore. A couple of chariots, some Ungore. It was scary, to be honest. It was a scary Beastman list. And Rob's a really good guy, very, very good to play against. This game is a story about how a man who's a dead man who happens to be a level 2 of death with Spirit Leech can single-handedly win a game almost, whilst watching the rest of the army be absolutely murdered. So, I castle, as seems to be my way forward with the Tomb Kings.
Tomb King stroke dwarf tactics.
Yeah. Castled in the corner-ish. And the Beastmen just obviously start running at them. I engage a little bit here and there, unfortunately, because these little troops are Slaanesh. Can't panic them off, but I charge. I hit a shades one of me cats, and me luck with initiative tests fails me, which was sad.
That happened.
But yeah, oh yeah, I mean, yeah. To be fair, the fact that I'd lived this long was outrageous. But the other cat goes into his Minotaurs, and kill the Minotaurs eventually die. But meanwhile, these two big blocks are slowly pincering in on everything I've got, and I can't make an armor save or anything else for actual toffee. So safe to say, by the long story short, he comes at me, gets into combat, and I can't do squat in combat. Everything gets murdered. He murders the snakes. He murders the giant. He murders the archer blocks one by one. He essentially just chomps through everything. However, the glorious Death Wizard, level 2. At the end, I managed to Spirit Leech his priest to gain D3. Now I can't remember if that was the level 2 priest, to be fair, or the Hero Titan. But for the sake of my own story, it's definitely the priest, but it could have been either. But it was definitely Spirit Leech that killed him, because Spirit Leech essentially killed everything that was worthwhile killing except for the Minotaurs. So that one has got us D3, and I also managed to, after attempting it every single turn, because his general had LD10 and he was providing a bubble of leadership 10, which is essentially stopping the casket doing anything. Because it's 3 dice, but LD10 gave him just such a good defensive bubble that it was, I just couldn't get through it at all. But I did eventually kill his general with Spirit Leech. So the two things that you really had to kill for the scenario were the priest and the general, and I killed them both with Spirit Leech. At the end of the game, I had the Casket of Souls, 1 unit of archers with my Hierophant in, and then a ad hoc. Oh no, sorry, both the archers were dead. I had the Casket of Souls and an ad hoc unit with my general, my priest, my level 2 and my level 4 Hierophant in, 4 characters, and me casket. That was it. Everything else had been killed. All I'd really killed was his unit of Minotaurs, all of his different units of Ungor chaff, and some chariots. He still had both his big blocks left. He might have even had one of the Ungors left. But I had killed both the characters that mattered, and I won it. I won the game by 1 victory point, I think, possibly 2. So I won it because of the mission. Like, frankly, it was the least deserved win I think I've ever had in my life. Rob absolutely battered me, or like genuinely. It's been a while since I've been that soundly beaten. To be honest, it was bad. I just didn't have an answer for what he had, and he did have an answer for what I had. My dice were horrendous until it mattered, and I rolled that 6 for Spirit, and I'd never been so happy in my life. He rolled a 1, and I think I rolled a 6, and I was like, yes! Yes, Spirit Leech for the win!
Just rely on that signature spell to
honestly
pull you out of the situation.
Who needs Purple Sun? Spirit Leech is where it's at. So yeah, to be honest, I felt really bad winning, to be honest, because I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve it. But I played the mission and won. But really, I had 5 models left on the board or something. It was ridiculous. I had my characters left and no troops. All my troops had been dead or had been killed.
But you still won.
Won by 1 or 2 mission points. Yeah, I've apologies, Rob. He soundly thrashed me in Warhammer, but when it came to scenarios, Spirit Leech saved the day.
Standard.
Which was lovely. It also meant, to be fair, the Tomb Kings finished 4-1, which was something I was really pleased with, really happy with. It was quite something.
No, that's very good.
Message of the day: play the mission.
I couldn't agree more, even if I didn't follow that advice. Well, my last game was against Slaanesh Demons, and this is possibly the best game of Warhammer I've ever played.
It's also possibly one of the most beautiful armies of Warhammer. The most beautifully painted armies you'll ever see.
Yes, that's
it is just incredible.
There'll probably be a lot of pictures of this on. I'll link them below. Michael's Instagram. Yeah. I'm linking a lot of people here, but
but Michael's Slaanesh,
are
just stunning. He is quite a remarkable painter. What he can do, it blows me mind. It's amazing. It really, really is phenomenal.
Because I'd seen it on display. I'm like, oh, that'd be an interesting one to fight. And then, oh, you're drawing against him. Okay, at least I'm going to get some nice pictures. And he'd won Derby.
Yes.
So
pretty much with this list, give or take.
It's pretty similar.
Slightly.
Wasn't this? He said he'd had to add the cannons to bring the comp down to get in to qualify for Derby. Yeah. So anyway, we set up like this. I'm sort of bunched in there. He's over there. Initially, a load of crazy stuff happened in this game. So I moved the Silverhelms out, sort of the way they're facing, that to give myself some space because it's all bunched in there. Let's have a look. Let's think what happened here. I think the cannon kills all the Silverhelms in one go, as it standard it does. In return, the sisters kill all the Hellstriders. So that's like 1 for 1. The Phoenix Guard sort of move a bit forward, and the sisters maneuver around them. And then this thing in the middle, this dishes out frenzy to Forces of Destruction. So he moves this big, massive block of Demonettes to within that to get the effect. So my thought is, no chance. I'm not going anywhere near that. So I've got to block this for as long as possible. My magic phases in the initial 2-3 turns are crap. I think I get like 4, 5, 3. Not enough for Fiery Convocation, which fortunately I've drawn. So this just becomes an incredibly tense thing of how long can I pin this unit for until I can reduce it down in order to get the Phoenix Guard to fight it. Because the amount of attacks coming out of that with Frenzy, I think he had the reroll, or I forgot what priest he had, or the exploding sixes. There was some double effect on that. I'm like, nope, don't want anything to do with that. I don't know what they're called. They're like the monstrous Slaanesh infantry behind his block of Demonettes.
Fiends of Slaanesh.
So they come round down past the forest there, making a beeline for the archers. Which I'm not concerned about because high elf archers can take on anything. So they reform, expecting the charge from them. They take the charge, completely beat up the Fiends of Slaanesh, and then in the next turn they beat them so bad that they just vanish out of existence. And at this point, like,
your archers never let you down in combat.
Absolutely not. No. So then they reform out of their deep formation back into the line, and it's like it's never happened. Like, yeah, they've killed chaos sorcerers on dragons before. That's not a problem. The sisters then sort of try to shoot the kill one chariot, I think. Yeah, the kill one chariot on that side. His cannons blow themselves up throughout the course of the game. They misfire consistently. Like I think it was once a turn at least. They misfired. Can't shoot next turn. Then they kill themselves. So like, what is going on here? So to stop this block here, where are we? I use some eagle shenanigans to double block them like that. So they charged that eagle, overrun at that eagle. At that point, that was what stopped me. So I don't want to do that because I'll overrun at that, and then I can hit them in the side with the Phoenix Guard, so the frenzy won't be so bad, and I've got quite a lot of combat res and all that. So they hold them up for about 2 or 3 turns. Eventually, he charges a character out into one eagle, but the eagle doesn't get killed. He only gets killed in the next turn. So then he has to charge into the next eagle and kills him then. At which point, I think... Oh, sorry, there's the hero archers. There they are.
Standard. Yeah. Archers doing the business in combat.
Just bring it, Slaanesh. Is that the best you got? But I haven't got a picture of it. I thought I had a picture of it. But anyway, so I think it might be the herald that he charges out. So this herald has killed the eagle on his turn. So my Phoenix Guard block, and I managed to cast Fiery Convocation on the Demonettes. So they're sort of slowly. I think I get something like 25 of them killed in one turn, or something obscene like that, because it was all back and forward like that. And then he rolls on the. I think I fail a load of. Yeah, I fail a load of leadership tests, charging the Reavers into his other chariot. I fail a load of fear tests for them. And then we were just talking about it during the game. I cannot pass a leadership test. He rolls on the Reign of Chaos table for the wizard on the opponent's side has to take a leadership test. And I think my words.
A herald.
Yeah, my exact words were a leadership test. Are you fucking joking?
Yes.
And take the test, fail. Take the reroll for the banner, fail. My wizard is dead, and turns into a lovely Herald of Slaanesh. So, well, that's unexpected. So my plan was, I will charge the Phoenix Guard into the Herald that killed the 2 eagles, kill that in combat or combat res, whatever, and then overrun into what's left of the Demonettes and kill everything else, and everything will be fine. It's a 5-inch charge I need to make, and of course I fail it.
Of course you do.
Which has left enough of a gap for the Demonettes who have reformed to charge through the gap and hit the Sisters of Avalon. They do stand and shoot, and they think there's only like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 left and the characters, but that's enough to kill that unit. So the Sisters of Avalon last about 1 turn and a half, then they're all dead. So at the end of the game, there is. I haven't taken that many losses, and this is what's left. So that's what I'm left with at the end of the game.
That's all that between both of you at the end of the game.
No, the archers are still alive. The archers shoot the herald that the wizard decided he wants to be a herald, so the archers executed him. But that is about it. And I think he won by 1 point because he'd taken the special character.
I thought you'd won by 1 point at the end.
I didn't win. No. I lost.
But what a game.
But it was such a brilliant game because all the tools that I needed, that I was relying on, like Fiery Convocation and stuff like that, weren't available to me. So I had to play this blocking game and pick off.
You did say straight after it, as we were driving home, that was one of the best games of Warhammer you think you'd ever play.
On like the tactical level, not that I'm like some tactical genius or anything like that, but it just felt so like I'm under pressure all the time, and I was trying to calculate what, you know, when you're placing the eagles, right? What would happen if that happens? If it hits the eagle and overruns, what happens? If he charges the character out, which I didn't anticipate, oh, what does that mean? Is that good or bad?
Yeah.
Shall I move the eagles? Shall I swap them with the reavers? No, I don't want to do that. And like I couldn't, you know, when you try to think a few steps ahead, I'd reached a point where I couldn't think any further ahead. Like I've reached the limit of what I can actually predict or foresee or anticipate. So it's like it's right on the edge of like what is going to happen. I'm at the edge. I don't know what I'm going to do next. And then the wizard turned into herald, because my plan was because I failed the charge, I'll just walk between worlds right into the front of the demonettes, because if they charge me now, there's not that many of them left, and I think I should be all right. But the wizard is now a herald, so right, can't do that. That's gone. Depowered magic phases can't rely on fiery convocation. The archers can't help that much because they're getting charged and reforming. The Sisters of Athel Loren haven't got that many targets because there's a big rock in the way for shooting the demonettes, and everything else on that side is either gone or they've killed it already. So it was like everything I'm trying is failing, and like, what's plan B? What's plan C? What's plan D? And it was such a satisfying game at the end that I wasn't bothered in the slightest that I didn't win. It was such a good game, and I voted for it as the best. What was your best opponent? Or best
most enjoyable game, like most sports.
And that's not to take anything away from anyone else I played, because they're all great. But on that level, it was like, yeah, that was such a good game.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. So, spoiler for anyone who, well, it's not a spoiler. It is what it is. The good guys won. Like we managed to prevent the Sundering of Athel Loren, and we could go away celebrating that good guys were better than bad guys.
Which is unusual to hear you say.
To be honest, I haven't said it. I feel a little bit sick.
You can lie to yourself that you're serving the gash, but it's not true.
I am. I'm going to. We were following the plan by the great necromancer himself, doing what needed done.
And we got a certificate.
Yeah, we did. Good guys won.
That
all said, I did. Yeah, I came top of the good guys, which was an incredible performance, and I was like stunned. Won a really lovely dice tray, which was I'm really pleased with. It's somewhere in my house after the move. I've got no idea where yet.
They frame it, but that's a bit weird.
But no, to be honest, it's going to go on. It's going to get used on when I get the gaming room set up. Finally, a permanent gaming room, and it'll be there. And to be honest, what I was most proud of, is that I was joint top on most sportsman votes or best game votes.
Believe that.
That's because I'm a nice guy, Mark, and this propaganda and slander that you guys throw out about me is just not true. I'm a nice guy.
There must be a lot of Ketterman around with your opponents.
But obviously what we haven't chatted about is the most important thing, which was the Saturday night, end of game one, entertainment, Warhammer, Triple Crown quiz.
Eats the bull, as it was.
Eats the bull. Now, for those who haven't listened to our review of the GT, what people need to know is that we Northerners won the quiz at the GT. So we were down there to defend our title as Lore Masters of 8th edition.
Which we did.
Let it not be said that the North is not actually the real world equivalent of Safari. It's where knowledge is kept, and it's where we come down to the South to teach people the ways of Warhammer lore.
Yeah, Teclis and his Lore Masters. That Lore Master title that James has got, he needs to give that up to one of us.
Winning games is for chumps. Winning Warhammer quizzes is for heroes.
I was more satisfied at that quiz win than in my 2 wins
Oh.
in the actual games.
To be honest, like, and I caught the guys about it. I loved the quiz at the GT, and I love the fact like they put on this Saturday entertainment and whatnot. I thought they did a phenomenal job with this one, and it was such a good laugh in the team as well.
I was trying to buy a drink, and then I heard through the hall, and now it's the high elf round, so I had to sprint from the bar.
The rest was shouting, "Mark, it's your moment!"
And then
and you did yourself proud. Did yourself proud.
Named the first 8 Phoenix Kings, and I think my phrase to you as I was pushing you off the chair was "Get out the fucking way."
Yes. 8? Don't you want all of them? Or someone was quickly followed by that.
You just want 8. You can do them all.
Yeah, and special mention from the quiz to Chris, who is also a enormous nerd when it comes to Warhammer lore, just like ourselves. And also James for that one answer on Bretonia.
Yeah,
that nobody else
would have got that.
6th edition nonsense.
They try to claim that the Triple Crown guys try to claim they won, even though they'd had the answers and written the quiz themselves. So I'm not having that.
Oh, they write the quiz.
That's not really fair.
But no, again, I know we're repeating ourselves, but it was the quiz and the whole thing on the Saturday night was just fantastic. Like the food was good.
I wouldn't even
the venue.
I wouldn't even.
The venue was incredible.
Yeah, well, they don't. Great setting.
St Giles Banquet Hall, amazing. The Triple Crown guys, like all 3 of them, put on a phenomenal event. Anyway,
it would never occur to me now not to crown the ticket, because that
it's worth every penny.
That afternoon was it's such a nice way. You do 3 games and you're mentally quite knackered, but then you do the quiz. That's a lot of fun, and then you just get to talk to the Triple Crown guys, and you get to talk to other players. It's just really nice.
Talk to other people, drink beer.
Yeah.
Like it was fantastic. Like it was such a good day. And we said at the start, anyone thinking about wanting to attend like a tournament but isn't really into like the competitive scene, like honestly, when tickets next come out for the narrative, like anyone remotely interested, please get one. It was
you'll not regret
amazing. No, you will not regret it. Everybody I've spoken to, and like everyone in the car on the way back up, like UI and Andy, like we all universally agreed that like it was a phenomenal event, and we could not recommend it enough.
Yeah, that is the best event I've been to so far.
Yeah. Like, I'm already looking forward to the next year. I don't know what the setting is, what they're going to do with their themed armies that they're going to put together. Like and also I don't care.
Yeah, whatever it is, I'll be going.
Like whatever they put together, I'm attending because it was awesome.
Yeah, 100%. So thank you very much, Triple Crown, for putting on.
Hats off, guys! Like,
really good event. Yeah, everybody enjoyed it. Everyone had a great time, and the good guys won. So triumph.
Praise to Nagash.
Well, if my wizard hadn't exploded and turned into a herald, it might have been very different.
That's incredible.
Well, thank you for reviewing the event. The next one.
Oh, thanks for having us again.
Next one will be Cardiff. That's coming up in like 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, we'll have to squeeze in a pre-event review.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. I've brought something quite different.
Oh, that event is going to be hilarious for all sorts of different reasons. And these lists that we put together, not to be a spoiler, are wild.
Well, tune in next time for what that means, or look on my Twitter because I'm spoiling it all already. Anyway, thank you for coming in again, Scott. I'll no doubt see you on the next one.